Okay, today we're talking vitamin K, and as you'll see, vitamin K is important for blood coagulation or the stopping of bleeding. And in fact, the reason it's called vitamin K is K stands for coagulation when you spell coagulation the way the Danish do, which is with the K. And in terms of runners, blood coagulation actually isn't the most important topic. So this is a good indication of a vitamin which is probably less necessary for your arsenal of things to think about as a runner. And we're going to break through in a second. I'll show you why the key element of vitamin K is going to be this part of the structure down here. So let's look at the chemistry, because the more you know, the faster you run. All right, so here is a cool picture, a scanning electron microscope picture of a blood clot. So this is when you got a cut in your skin, it's bleeding. Over time, it starts to develop a scab. This is basically what it looks like. It's a bunch of blood cells that have stuck in together with this nice fibrous net over it. And how this thing forms is kind of through a three-step process. So step one, you have your damaged blood vessel. Your skin gets cut, blood's flowing out of it. Step two is the platelets, which is a word you probably are familiar with. They're always floating around in your blood. When they're exposed to air, they turn more into an activated form, which is kind of like a very sticky substance, which starts to plug this hole, and it attracts the red blood cells that are flowing by, and it creates this nice, almost temporary plug. Then, over time, those fibrous structures that we saw in the previous slide starts to tie and create a net around this plug, creating an insoluble permanent plug, which also pulls the blood vessel together and helps heal. As it turns out, to make this fibrous net, there's a bunch of blood clotting factors, coagulation factors that are used to create this net, and calcium ions are a very important component. Now, calcium ions are interesting because there's a lot of calcium in your body. There's something like 3 pounds of calcium in your body at any given time, and 99% of it is in your bones. However, a small percentage of it is in your bloodstream, and that's the calcium that your body needs to form those blood clots. Calcium is a very sticky substance. It's almost like two-sided tape. It's able to stick to things, and that enables it to create this nice clotting structure. And specifically the way it works is you have an amino acid, glumatic acid, which is a non-essential amino acid, but nevertheless your body needs it. And it has this ability to add an additional acid group, a carboxylic acid group. So it goes from 1 here to 2 here. And you now have these 2 negative charges on the oxygen, which pairs very nicely with attracting the calcium ion, which has the 2+ charge on it. And so this activated form can bond the calcium, carries it in the bloodstream to where it needs to go. And the way that you're able to add this carboxylic acid group onto this amino acid is through the use of vitamin K. And specifically, if you remember down here, I circled that form here. Vitamin K was able to react in the presence of carbon dioxide and oxygen to become a very powerful base, deprotonates this structure, which then allows it to ultimately add this carboxylic acid group here. So the reason why vitamin K is important and its primary function is that it enables the glumatic acid or amino acids to bond to calcium to carry it into your bloodstream to the source of the blood clot, ultimately creating this nice fiber structure which allows your body to heal. And when it comes to being a runner, this isn't something that I feel like a lot of runners talk about. So it's not a deficiency or necessarily a vitamin that you need to be worried about. If you eat basically vegetables, odds are you're going to get enough vitamin K in your diet. But nonetheless, this is something that you should know about as you're considering your supplementation needs. This might be an instance where it's something you probably don't need as much of as other vitamins such as vitamin B and vitamin C. Hope this is helpful. See you at the finish line.